Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the co-host of this show, the Midday Market Report for Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. As always on Wednesday, we get to cross the board. It's a good friend and colleague, Mr. Andrew McInnis from McInnis Picks and Wager Talk to talk some CFL, some NFL, check in on his Blue Jays. NHL starting on Tuesday. Shout out to the boys behind the glass, to Joseph Shea, Evan Lewis, Lou, Bennett, and of course, Cade. Shout out to our new sponsor and partnership, WagerWire. Super stoked. Thank you, Travis. Thank you, Zach. Got some big plans for you guys for the next up and coming few months, the rest of 2023, and then can't wait for 2024 as well there. Currently, top of the fourth, Rays and Rangers scoreless, of course, because we got the Rays team total over 4.5, so need them to wake up. But they've been our kryptonite all year. ECSI VIPs, nice 1-0 leads in our two series plays. The Snakes, plus 156 to beat the Brewers. Got to win 2. We won the first one there, and we have the Twinkies. We had a minus 115 against the Jays, which we will talk about with Andrew. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I'm excited.
I see the sweatshirt is on. Yes.
It is on.
And
it might be the last time it's on.
Do you still believe?
I do believe, because I didn't think they were going to win game 1 anyway. It all comes down to game 2. It's a short series, 2 out of 3. I'm not on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm at about a 5 right now. So I guess that wouldn't be the most believing level, but I didn't feel amazing going into game 1 anyway. It's about getting over that game 2 hump, and then seeing what happens in game 3. So I'm excited, but most importantly, Jeff, it's a great feeling to be a fan. I am involved in the game today, though, from a side perspective. But yesterday, I sat back as a fan. But I preach this all the time. I think it's very healthy in sports betting to have fans. Some handicappers might disagree with that, but as you can see behind me with the little blurry Bell Center with the Montreal Canadiens, I don't bet on them all the time. I'm not betting using my heart. I love to cheer on teams that I like, and you saw how excited I was for the World Juniors. It's nice to be a fan, but what a time it is right now. What is it, 49, 50 straight days? We got college football and NFL together. Don't forget about the CFL as well. Grey Cup is coming up in a few weeks. Well, the playoffs are, at least, and NHL next week. So I'm excited, and I'm just hoping that we can at least get a good game for the Jays. And if not, at least my good buddy on Cape Cod's catching a winner.
Well, listen, to be in the dance, anything can happen. And this year, they didn't have the one and done, so you would be gone with 4 other teams. And the fact of the matter is, it's a race to 2. You got to win 2. All hands on deck today for the Jays, all hands on deck for the Rays, all hands on deck for Milwaukee and the Phillies. So it's either win or go home and start golfing, or getting ready for winter, we should say, in most parts of the world there. So Rangers just put one on the board, 1-0 Texas, top of the 4th there. So hockey, Bell Center. I'm at the Garden. We got the Bruins here. Hockey starts on Tuesday. You've been following the preseason. What have you seen so far from your Canadians? What have you seen? Obviously, in Tampa, no Vasilevsky for at least 2 months there. There have been a few injuries here and there. What have you seen so far, Andrew?
What have I seen as well in the preseason, Jeff? I've seen the teams with youth have been the teams that have played the best. Something that we're always learning, and I think that although it's now 365 days away until the next preseason begins, but I think I'm going to have a big circle around the younger teams going into camp. A lot of people, and I've been really treading lightly. I've only have a couple plays so far officially with preseason, but a lot of people like to look at the lineups and look towards, well, this guy's playing and that guy's playing, so there's no way they're going to lose to this team. And a good example is the game that was just recently played where I live in Halifax. I wasn't at the game because you would have had to sell an arm and a leg to get in if you didn't get the first tickets. But Sidney Crosby, Riley Smith, Evgeny Malkin, all these, Carlson, Letang, all of those players, Jeff, were suiting up for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They got shut out against the young Ottawa Senators. I've noticed the young teams playing a lot better, and even sometimes the guys that are trying to make the team playing a lot better than the teams that are actually suiting up these older rosters. When it comes down to it, I'm sure Sidney Crosby wanted to win, especially in front of his family and friends. Apparently, he bought like 100 seats for that game. But you get the point I'm trying to make here. It seems like across the league so far, these younger teams are playing very well. And we're also seeing lots of goals in that aspect. The older teams, the legs aren't there. It's almost like this really is their training camp to get their legs back because the defense hasn't really been there either. So it's been very interesting to follow. Like you said, no Vasilevsky is a guy that pretty much played the bulk of the games for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The only time he wouldn't play if it was like a 3 and 4 nights or something like that. That's going to be tough for them, but there's going to be a lot of competitive divisions this year. As far as the Habs, talk about a young team. I mean, their top six, the oldest player might be like 25 years old. They look like the camp is very competitive, which is what you want from a young team rebuilding. If you're going to be young, I keep on saying this. If you're going to be young, and if you're going to be a bad team, at least be young. And that's why I've been so obsessed with watching this team and watching all the videos. I'm learning about these players. The defensive prospects are a lot deeper than the prospects as far as the forward position goes, which is why I think a lot of people were frustrated that the Canadians didn't take a guy like Brian Leonard or Michkov, the Russian player. But it looks like a competitive team, and everyone's healthy. Kirby Dach, Sean Monahan, Josh Anderson, Slavkovsky looks better. So it's exciting. And I'll put it on record right now. I like the over 71.5 points for the Montreal Canadiens this year. I don't think I've come on here very confidently on the Midday Market Report and given out strong bets on the Canadiens. I really do like that over as far as their season points. Their division got tougher, but they were pretty much the Montreal Laval Rocket for half the year. If they stay healthy, it's going to be very interesting. I think I mentioned this to you a few weeks ago too, Jeff. Montreal fired their entire medical staff in the offseason. That's crazy. Like the fact that they fired they must have. It's crazy. They must have been so bad that they literally thought that they had to get rid of them. They had to get rid of them.
If I want to circle back before we transition here, you talked about the Ottawa Senators. I don't know what their under-over is. I was talking to a few people late last week about them. What's your outlook on the Ottawa Senators?
My outlook on the Senators is kind of like the rebuild is over. It's time to make it to the dance. The rebuild has been long enough now. You trade for Vasilevsky. You trade for Tarasenko, and you've got Batherson, you've got Pinto, you've got Chychrun, Kachuk, obviously, Stützle. They're very well built. I think now this is the time where they have to, be competing for a playoff spot. Last year they were, but they were injured. The biggest thing for me, Jeff, is their goaltending. Korpisalo looked pretty good for them. If they can have good goaltending, watch out for them, because I always talk about grit. And, that's been the thing I've gone after the Leafs about for so long. And all it took was a new general manager for them to go get Domi and Bertuzzi and Ryan Reeves. But the thing is, the Senators have skill players that aren't afraid of contact. I'm not saying Bertuzzi and Domi for the Leafs aren't skill, but when you look at some of these guys on the Senators, they're not afraid to go to the corners, which is what makes that team so good. So I like it. And one good thing about them, too, I know you asked me about this year, very unselfish contracts that all their top players signed. I mean, they've got their big 4 or 5 players all signed like under $10 million. So I think that's really impressive to look at. And their goaltending will be the biggest thing. If they're an over team for us again this year, Jeff, every game betting overs, they're not going to do well. If they get good goaltending, watch out. This will be fine. The first year, the Battle of Ontario between Toronto and Ottawa in the nation's capital, I think is finally competitive again. If that rivalry is back. What about you? Do you think they're the real deal, or now it's time to buy low on them, or buy high, or sell high? Excuse me.
I think it's time to. I think they'll make the playoffs. That's what I was wondering. I think that, as you said, it's put up time. Enough is enough here. They have the pieces in place. I think they do. And I think, like you said, they can't go into every game thinking to win 6-5. They got to, I don't want to say slow it down. They need some good goalies, good goalie and defensive games. They got to be able to win, 3-2, 4-3 versus first 1-7 wins like they like to do. The overs were always fun with them. The team total overs were even fun. I don't care. Just get to 4 tonight and we'll be happy, and so I do. I was talking to a couple of people and they were actually piquing my interest about them. So I thought I would ask you there. And I'm going to ask this question on live here and then maybe have you send me an email or something. I have some good friends that are now competing. You might like this in fantasy hockey. And they're doing drafts as we speak, some high stake leagues, some smaller stake leagues, but they're having a hard time finding some daily good content on hockey. Where are some non-paid sites and even paid sites that you would suggest to all the people watching and listening where they can get some good day-to-day, night-to-night hockey info?
One of my favorite ones to use is actually Daily Faceoff. I use them for dailyfaceoff.com. I use them for lineups, starting goaltenders, but they also have articles mostly and related to fantasy. So I think they're great. RotoWire is great for, I think, every sport. I really like using that. I think they're underrated as far as hockey is concerned. What else do I really look at? Money Puck. Money Puck is a good one as well. That's the one I actually talked about that one quite a bit last year on the show. Money Puck's more of an analytical website, but it will kind of show you kind of like those new age stats, right? The expected goals against. But one thing as far as fantasy users that I'd really, really recommend looking at, it tells you which line pairings are playing well together. So, for example, you might look at, it's kind of like how I've been preaching how I'm really high on Jonathan Drouin going into the year for the Colorado Avalanche. He's back with McKinnon. They were buddies in junior hockey. Look at what his number is going to be like, Jeff, for his season points. Like if I don't even know if that prop is out there, his season long prop compared to his two teammates, right? It's kind of like Cale Makar when he played on the same line with Devon Toews. What's more of a household name, Cale Makar or Devon Toews? So you're going to get one guy at 190 to get a point and one guy at minus 130 to get a point. But if they're playing on the same line, just because McKinnon might score the goals doesn't mean Drouin's not going to pass him the puck. So anyway, moneypuck.com does a great job of giving you the breakdown line for line. Like last year, it told me which player. I've always wondered which player plays the best with Caulfield and Suzuki, because I'm tired of Marty St. Louis trying to figure it out. I want them to pick who it is. I think it should be Monahan and keep him there for 10 games. You can't gain chemistry if you're changing who those two guys play with every single game. So Money Puck, RotoWire, and Daily Faceoff. That's one. Have you heard of Daily Faceoff? I'm sure you've heard it, Jeff. I don't know if you've checked that before, but I really like that one.
I do. Who was it that you were doing that with the Oilers? I think he was suspended or injured, and he was playing on the big line, and you were cherry picking his half point. He was playing on the big line for the Oilers.
Was it?
He got traded over there.
Yamamoto, or no, not Yamamoto. Is he still on the team?
He got traded over there. He got traded, I think, from Vegas, maybe. He's kind of a cheap shot artist.
Evander Kane? Is it Evander Kane?
There it was.
Yes. Yeah, he was the one. He was the one. And we were getting way better. You're right, because I was betting his shots on goal. I was betting him to get a point because he plays with McDavid.
Exactly. 4-0 Rangers, bottom of the fourth. They explode for 4 in the top of the fourth. And as usual, the Rays are sitting there, single, strikeout, line out, can't get out of their own way. So the clock ticking on the Rays as the Rangers look to advance there. We talked CFL today. There's 2 games on the 6th. So that would be Friday. One with no line, Edmonton and Toronto I'm looking at, and then Winnipeg at BC. My true number was a pick with a 51.5. Seeing BC now 1.5 with a 50.5. Reason for Edmonton, Toronto, I'm seeing no line.
Very similar to last week, where Toronto had nothing to play for. Yeah, that hasn't changed. So Toronto has absolutely no reason to play for other than building momentum and things like that, Jeff. So I think they want to figure out which players are resting, which players will be in the lineup, who won't be, and how meaningful the game really is for them. So, but last week it worked out for the Argonauts, right? They were getting 7.5 points and they were almost winning the whole game. And then Winnipeg took over late in the game, but that's the reason. This team is 10-0 at home, I believe, or 8-0 at home, the Argos. So I don't think they want to go out there and lose by any means, but that's the reason why the lines aren't there.
BC 1.5 point favorites against the Bombers. We know how well BC plays at home. Obviously, I would have liked the BC at a pick 'em. If I was to play this game, I would just take the BC money line here. Your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, this is the game of the week. This is the game that diehard CFL fans can't stop talking about, which excites me because it's nice to see people still pumped up about the CFL, even with all the other football leagues going on. This game single-handedly 99% decides the division for the Western Conference, decides who wins, who gets the bye, who gets to have home field all the way until the potential Grey Cup visit. And I like the home team. I like BC to get it done. Look, BC has kind of slipped a little bit with their defense. I can't write that off. I got to admit it. But when I look at them, it seems like they've made the clutch plays every single game. And I know you can't handicap that. That's not something you can kind of research and find a statistic about. But when I watch them, they've been really good in the fourth quarter. They've made really good second half adjustments. And I can't sit here and knock the Winnipeg defense without saying anything about BC's defense. But a bread and butter for Winnipeg, if Zach Collaros was having a bad game, was always their defense. And their defense hasn't been as good to me this year as it has been. I know somebody could watch this right now, could look at the last 4 games and say, well, that's not true. They only allowed this many points against this team. I think that they've gone up against some offenses that might be struggling. And you look at this BC team, they went up against Edmonton, and I know Edmonton's a bottom feeder, and Edmonton gave them all they had to handle, and BC came out in the second half and got the job done. They're healthier than Winnipeg, I believe. As long as Vernon Adams Jr. has time in the pocket, his offensive line protects him, I think they're the better team. So that's one of my favorite plays here, but not the favorite. I'm going to give out all the bets I like here because the biggest game on the board, as we all know, and you proved this especially in college basketball last year when you were kicking ass, it's not always the big bet on the biggest game, right? The ESPN game of the night. Sometimes you can kind of scrape the bottom of the barrel for the best pick, and that's what I have in one of the next ones coming up here.
Let me scroll down here. Let me see here. Come on. No. Did I go by it? Hold on 1 second. I must have gone by. Oh, there we go. Hamilton at Saskatchewan. I had Saskatchewan with a 3, -3, and 50. Now 3.5 with a 43.5, and that's on Saturday.
Yeah. So what's crazy about the CFL, Jeff? And some people like it, some people don't. And this is why they need to get a team out my way, so at least there can be more competition. When you look at the standings right now, the Montreal Alouettes are 8-7, and the Tiger Cats are 7-8. So if Tiger Cats win this week and the Alouettes don't, this becomes a very big toss-up for home field advantage in their matchup in the playoffs. So things get really tricky here. But Saskatchewan is a team that I think that has actually gotten better every single week. They've lost some tough games. You look at their last few matchups. They had the Lions, they had the Blue Bombers, an Elks team playing their best football. They've been playing a lot of teams that put up big points on them. Their defense hasn't been very good. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think Hamilton has an offense like the team Saskatchewan's been going up against. I think that we're going to see an under in this game, but I think the best play here is first half Saskatchewan. I've said this on the show since you and I started talking about CFL together. The best home field advantage isn't Winnipeg in the CFL. It is Saskatchewan out there in the prairies. First half play, I know it's -3.5 only for the full game, but I think we're going to get a good effort out the gate from the Saskatchewan team. Hamilton's been going through it. They've got 2 different quarterbacks taking first-string snaps at practice, which I always find causes confusion. You want to know who the top guy is. And good buddy Rob Braley, who knows the CFL very well, he made a joke 6 weeks ago and said, good news for Hamilton is Bo Levi Mitchell is out for 6 weeks. The bad news is he's back in 6 weeks. And now here's the thing is, do you put Bo Levi Mitchell back in? He's one of the highest paid players in the league, Jeff. So if they paid him this much money and he got injured in like week 4, they kind of got to put him in if he's healthy. And I don't think that benefits Hamilton. So I think first half play is really good. And the next one, when I look at the next one between Montreal and Ottawa, every single summer and fall, when I bet the CFL, I do whatever I possibly can to find an excuse to bet on the team that lost the previous week when you see a team in a home and home. And you can literally make money doing that in the CFL. But I think it was a great feeling during the Banjo Bowl this year. I bet Saskatchewan game 1 and Winnipeg game 2, and they both won. And that was great, covering the point spreads. This scenario between Ottawa and Montreal is an opportunity for us to take a look at an Ottawa team that is just down in the dumps. They're just an absolute mess right now. They're fighting at practice, and it's not a good thing anymore with them. Their quarterback situation's been a mess all year. They pretty much dealt with injuries since week 3 or 4. I like the under in this game, Montreal and Ottawa. I know Ottawa's been a team I've cashed some tickets on overs with practically all season with Ottawa. But Montreal is at their best when they run the football. Cody Fajardo isn't a bad quarterback, Jeff, but he's someone that you need to have him be a game manager Let William Stanback get 80, 90, 100 yards in the ground. Montreal have a good game. Under 47.5, best bet for me here on the show. Montreal and Ottawa.
The Rangers tack on another one, 5-0, bottom of the fifth. The Rays
Wow.
don't get going. Thanks for playing. There's a Thursday night game. Must not watch TV. The Bears are at Washington. My true number was 3.5 with a 43, up to 5.5 with a 44.5. And then, of course, we have the weekend in the NFL. Before you and I next week will announce we'll be going to Tuesdays and Thursdays, one day on my channel, one day on your channel, highlighting obviously the start of hockey. Can't wait for that. But before we wrap everything up, as always, anything on the Thursday night game or anything that you're looking for in the NFL this weekend?
Look, it's worked out well, Jeff, where in the Thursday night games, I haven't liked to look at sides and totals because they've been just garbage games, it seems like. So I look at props a lot. I'm liking Brian Robinson over 63.5 rushing yards for the Washington Commanders. Antonio Gibson was meant to be a 1-2 punch with Brian Robinson. I thought that the splits were going to be 60-40 as far as these shared carries in the running back room for the Washington Commanders. Gibson's averaging like 1 yard per rush. He has not been successful, and Brian Robinson's getting the freeway to just, hey, you are the guy. You are our RB1. And when you look at this Bears team, they rank in the second half in rushing yards allowed per game, and the point spread being close to a touchdown here indicates they do expect Washington to win that game. A tough spot for the Bears after a demoralizing loss. I do think the Commanders will be up in this game, and if they are up, they'll look to run the ball quite a bit. I thought that was quite a light number for a guy getting 14, 15 carries per game. I'll take over 63.5 carries for Brian Robinson. I like the Jaguars plus 5.5. I think it's a huge edge, the fact that they're already in London. The Bills are off that big win against the Dolphins. And best bet for me, NFL on the show here, I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons money line over the Houston Texans. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid that is the Houston Texans. Everyone loves this team. Everyone loves that they've got weapons. They've got a great young quarterback. I just think that this is a good buy low spot and sell high spot on two different teams here, and the situation adds up to me.
The scroll has been going the whole time. A promo at Wager Talk here that I'm going to let you tell everyone. But if everyone here watching and listening, please go follow Andrew. Obviously, at McInnis Picks on Twitter. Go find all his work on Wager Talk. You can see his work also at Mayflower Sports. But as always, I throw you that nice little 10-yard button hook so you can tell everyone what they got to going at Wager Talk for you this week.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll try not to catch it and then slide before the goal line so I don't make bettors mad like Mahomes did the other night. But look, we got two different specials going right now. One of them is if you buy right now, you get 7 days of NHL plays. If you're one of the first 25 people to do it, you get an extra 2 days, so 9 days for $49. That's a special at my website, wt.buzz/am. And if you don't want just the week, you want the full season, you can get it for $499. As it says there below in the scroller, originally $595. And the current promo code, as you can see down there, AM, I believe, NHL $499. So NHL $499, and that includes preseason, futures, regular season, prop sides, totals, and all the way to the playoffs.
I can't wait, my brother. I can't wait. I can't believe hockey will be here on Tuesday. So everyone watching, keep an eye on Andrew's timeline and my timeline for whether we'll be on my channel on Tuesday or on Andrew's on Tuesday. But we'll be going twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays, talking hockey, talking CFL, talking some NFL props. And we're going to take you all the way through this year, and then we're going to circle on over to 2024. And then next thing you know, one of us will be hoisting Lord Stanley Cup. How's that sound?
I look forward to it. I look forward to diving into the futures market with you this year as well.
I can't wait. I know I'll be heavy on some team totals early, so hopefully we come out guns a-blazing. How's that?
Let's do it. Thank you again, Jeff. And sorry for the late start to this show.
Oh, no problems whatsoever. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis and McInnis Picks at Wager Talk. We thank everyone for watching and listening. Enjoy the MLB playoffs. A couple college football games going on as well tonight. So have some fun, and we'll see you soon. Oh, and don't forget, there you go, Andrew, the Blue Jays must-win situation. So just like the Rays, hopefully they show up, unlike the Rays. So see you soon.